nothing to help create racial equality? If so, that means you want to be a woke white person.
Hey, what's up, guys? Jazz Gonzo here. What's next? I apologize for the flicker. I'm still trying to get this figured out with this new camera of mine, so please bear with me. But as far as the story goes, I would say it's not about politics, but unfortunately politics has infiltrated everything, has cancerified everything, even from something from the most mundane, even up to that what we take as precious, pun intended. Let's take a look. This comes out of Bounding into Comics. Excuse me. Lord of the Rings fan site describes J.R.R. Tolkien as woke. Lord of the Rings fan site The One Ring recently described Lord of the Rings writer J.R.R. Tolkien as woke in a recent Twitter thread. The website appears to have some kind of connection at Amazon Studios' current Lord of the Rings TV series production, given that they were the first to receive to publish an official synopsis of the show back in January. Regardless, they took to Twitter where they began a thread condemning homophobic comments. They wrote, quote, "Listen, we've been dealing with such homophobic comments for decades, and it's still wrong. Whatever toxic arguments are being said now about LOTR, fandom, and adaptations is the same trash that said Ian McKellen was the worst to affront Tolkien's legacy ever. Hashtag pride." They follow it with that writing. Cogent, respectful debate on Tolkien is always welcome, but homophobic, racist, misogynistic trash is always a case for banning. It's not what Tolkien fandom is. Once or welcome. We used to be able to ban in the era of message boards and IRC, but in the era of social media. Next, they wrote, "The platforms can't keep toxicity out of our community. We can mute and block, but that's only for this account feeds. Twitter is not a community simply because it lacks anti-troll tools. Nasty people still show up in replies because their toxic friend subtweeted us." The account then argued that Tolkien was woke. They tweeted, If you still think Ian McKellen is the worst and that Catholic Tolkien would have never approved, I beg you to read more of Tolkien's books and letters. He was woke, stood against hate, embraced all cultures in life and fiction. It's why his books are translated in every language." They continued the thread. "If you think Ian McKellen gets a pass, well, whatever Amazon is doing is a disgrace to Tolkien, please think more on your personal bias before tweeting. Our block button is very active. And if URT enable toxic voices in the name of free speech, you not love Tolkien." Well, we know grammar is not this guy's strength or this girl's strength or whatever they want to call themselves that day. Finally, they concluded with this thread writing, "Hashtag pride gives us some of the greatest performances beyond all expectations." It's unclear what the One Ring is specifically taking issue with, other than it has something to do with Ian McKellen and the Amazon production and alleged comments made about them. As you can see above, they don't actually provide any evidence whatsoever regarding the comments. As for Tolkien being woke, one has to wonder what kind of definition of woke the One Ring is using, because Tolkien is probably the furthest from woke as you can get, and being a devout Catholic. To elude this point, Bishop Robert Barron of the Archdiocese of LA described wokeism as an intellectual virus. It's the new racism. Wokeism is the new racism. Wokeism is the new phobic. Woke is, other than being truthful, real truth, not your truth, not my truth, but the truth. While asking if this ideology is an answer to injustice, he provides an excellent definition of what wokeism actually is. He questions, But is this Foucaultian, if I'm probably butchering that word, woke philosophy, which holds to an antagonistic social theory, which deconstructs language, which denies the objectivity of moral norms, and which sees reality simply as an incessant struggle between oppressor and the oppressed? The answer? Bishop Barron then makes it clear that this ideology is not the answer, and he actually encourages fighting against it. He explains, of course not, and perhaps we should be encouraged by the French alarm at the emergence of wokeism in the midst, for now the very society that produced the intellectual virus might join the fight against it. Tolkien would not deny the objectivity of moral norms, being a devout Catholic. My thoughts. The One Ring site that is probably working in cahoots with Amazon are clowns. Tolkien was not woke. He was a very devout Catholic. He was very aware, self-aware of what God's place is in the universe, being the creator, his son Jesus Christ being our savior. He was very aware of those things. Read his works. He makes it very clear of how his religion is the focal point of his life, and not being stupid and moronic, an idiot, an asinine, a buffoon, a cretin, an ignorant, such as those over at the One Ring and Amazon. To me, I never liked the whole situation with Amazon anyway. I was not a fan of Amazon knowing what would become of it, them or Netflix. But for the Tolkien estate to sign off is very head-scratching. To me, I would have made it very clear that if you're going to do a series based off of The Lord of the Rings and Middle-earth, you better make it very clear that the books that were written by J.R.R. Tolkien are adhered to the letter. Not to deviate, not to add to, and not to deviate from, but as it is written. That would have just been me. Then that way you would have squashed all this nonsense from the get-go, and the One Ring wouldn't have been so stupid and brain dead enough to say Tolkien was woke, which, talk about polar opposite of what he and his family truly were, and how it affected his life when he wrote these amazing books, which Peter Jackson did an amazing job with all three movies. And with that being said, I'm Jasper Gonzo. This is What's Next. Want to see more videos just like this? Please leave a comment below. Like it, share it, subscribe to it. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.